Morning guys, Tom here, Hannay. Say today I want to go through what we usually do a delivery process on a G3. This is just the AV1750. It's going to be the same for the AV17 series, whether it be a C or an FS, the 18SF, the 19SF, 1850. Most of our DV lineups are going to be the same, but when you come pick up a boat here at Hannay's, this is what we try to go through, but everybody's excited when the new boat comes. So this is just going to be a quick overview of kind of the main bullet points. So when you're at home and you say, hey, what did Tom or Tim say about that one thing? Here where we're going to go through kind of the bullet points. All right, so right away, start in the front, trailer. All these easy loader trailers, snap down, close the coupler, and then your safety lock goes through there. Safety chains, 7-pin connector, plugging into the truck. Your swing tongue pulls out, pulls up, and swings. Closing it, same way. Put it back in, put your safety pin in, and you're good to go. Ratchet for the trailer winch is going to be the same on all boats. Lifting it up to release it. Take your safety chain off. Down here, safety cable, our safety chain. Lifting the ratchet back up, cranking the trailer back on nice and tight. Your trailer jack, that's going to be for moving the boat around. A little hint with these guys is make sure they're not all the way up or all the way down. The boat will move around your garage or your driveway a lot easier. Trailer all the way through, we're just going to kind of go through the back. LED lights. Dexter Volt hub, so you don't have to worry about checking grease. And in the back of the boat is going to be the ratchet strap or the tie downs. Open up that, pull the buckle open, give yourself some slack, taking them off, put them in the truck or in the transom of the boat, and then going back out, putting them on, hook them through. They don't have to be super, super tight. You know, it'll be He-Man in it, but make sure it's nice and taut. Another thing you're going to get with your G3 is going to be a transom saver. This transom saver here bottoms into this nice nook and cranny on this roller. You lift up your engine. You put the transom saver on until the pressure is off the engine. And you wrap the bungee around the engine. Taking it off, just as easy as putting it on. Take your bungee cord off. Hit your trim button up. Remove the transom saver. Place it in the boat. Here in the great state of Minnesota, it's illegal for us to travel down the road with any water in your boat or a boat plug in the boat. So G3 has their boat plug on a cable. Simply make sure this is out when you're going down the road and when you leave the lake. When you get to the lake, simply place back in and tighten up. Make sure that's secure so your vessel stays dry. For the trolling motor, to deploy it, make sure you pull your collar up to the shaft length that you want. So how far you want your motor head to be in the water. For this, we're just going to put it up a little bit just so it deploys. You're pushing down and in on your release mechanism. That's going to move it out. And pulling it back, same thing. Pulled in, make sure it's nice and tight. And then for travel down the road, move that collar back down and lock it up. Up here, you're going to notice some wires. This is a universal sonar wire. So this wire is meant to be loose until you put a depth finder up here. This wire here is going to be your wire for your trolling motor. Foot pedal. Now this is going to come with a remote control as well, so usually the foot pedals are an afterthought. In the bow of this boat, you're gonna have your horn slash light bow light assembly. Simply plug in the bow light in here. Tilt and trim mechanism for the back of the motor. So we're tilting and trimming that main engine in the bow. And then this is going to be the plug-in for the trolling motor. Also in the bow of this 1750, you're going to have the plug-in for your battery charger. It's either going to charge your trolling motor batteries or your trolling motor batteries and your cranking battery, depending on if you went with a 2-bank or a 3-bank charger. But it's very handy that you don't have to open up any compartments. You can just plug that right in. Now we're in the cockpit of the boat. We're going to go to the command center. We're going to go to the captain's seat of this boat. G3 did an amazing job with this console and how their switch panel is set up. The number one thing that I love about the G3 console is the master power switch. You'll notice if the master power is in the off position, horn doesn't work, courtesy lights don't turn on, nothing turns on. So at the end of the day, all you have to do is make sure this master power switch is turned off and the power to the dash is cut off. So we turn on master power, you'll notice a red indicator light will go on. That means you did bring power from the battery to the dash panel. If you would have a depth finder up here, that would also bring power to the depth finder. You'll notice horn will work, master power off, horn won't work. So now let's turn this master power switch on and go through all what the switches do. Your first switch is going to be your anchor light and navigation lights. So nighttime running, we want to put navigation lights on. A lot of boaters aren't educated in these light systems. Navigation means navigating. So you want your bow and your stern light to be on. Anchor is just your back light. You want that on if you're not moving across the water. So ANC, anchor light, not moving. NAV, navigation light, moving across the water. Navigation lets other boaters know that if they see a red and green light, they're moving across the water. Bilge pump. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but that turns the bilge pump on. All G3s from the 17, AV17 and up come with an automatic bilge pump as well as a manual bilge pump. So turning this bilge pump on is just going to get that extra 2 gallons of water out of the back of the boat. These next 2 switches are your switches for your live well. You'll notice aft and forward. Aft, rear, forward, bow. Manual live well, let's turn that on. What that's going to do is going to bring water to this back live well. You'll notice in this live well, you're going to have a plug. That's going to plug that hole. And then you're going to have an overflow tube. And you're going to have a white valve in here. Acts like a faucet. So the more water flow you want, you either open it or close it. You're also going to have an auto. What the auto is going to do is it's going to turn the live well on for approximately 60 seconds and then turn it off for 5 minutes and then turn it on for 60 seconds and turn it off for 5 minutes. And that's going to hold true to the front live well as well. But one thing about it is if you do not want that front live well to ever have water in it and this switch might get bumped, just turn that white faucet all the way off and plug the live well, and that way you won't get any water in there and just opens up another area for storage. Your next light is going to be your courtesy LED lights. LED lights in the front and in the rear. Once again, when we're done, we just turn that master power switch off, kills all the power. One more thing at the dash that the master power brings power to is going to be your Jensen radio. That's going to be your AM radio, your FM radio, and your Bluetooth. Guys, remember, it doesn't matter the boat brand. You're on the water. These are mostly set up for Bluetooth, capabilities. In the cities where we are, we do get some radio stations, but out country, it's tough to get radio stations, so mostly Bluetooth. Once again, power that master power switch off, and it kills the power to the radio. Let's look at the gauge cluster. So the gauge cluster here with G3 is all Yamaha gauges with the 5-gauge cluster, which is really nice on a boat this size. You're gonna have your trim gauge, your speedometer, your tachometer, your voltmeter, and your fuel gauge. All those get power by key on power. So by turning the key to the ACC position, brings power to those gauges. On all these gauges here, your most important one, in my opinion, after break-in, going to be your fuel gauge. But during break-in procedure, you want to make sure that Yamaha break-in is 2,000 RPMs or less in the first hour, 3,500 RPMs or less in the second hour. Hours 2 through 10, vary your speeds. You can have it wide open for up to 5 minutes at a time. But the main thing you want to do is just vary your speeds on that. Another question we get all the time on the dash cluster is this right here. This is the hydraulic fill for your steering. So you don't ever have to touch this. Even though it spins off, you don't have to touch it unless you have a seal issue in the future with your steering system that we have to purge your steering system. So don't touch that. A great thing about the command center on the G3 boat is your resettable circuit breakers. If you look underneath the console, you're gonna have labeled resettable circuit breakers. So if you are on the water and you pop a circuit breaker for some reason, you don't have to have a bunch of spare fuses in your glove box. You just simply reset the circuit breaker, that pops out, pop it back in, and you should be on your way. With the G3 boats, you're gonna get approximately 6 set of keys. I want to go through those real quick with you. Your first and your most important set of keys would be your ignition keys. I recommend all of my customers to either write down in their owner's manual or in your phone your Yamaha key number. Each Yamaha key number is going to be different for boats. And we can look it up after the fact, or we can get into your ignition system and find out what key number you have, but it's better for you just to say, hey Tom, I got key number 555, and we can just order one up for you if you do need a spare. You do get 2 keys with the boat, but just in case you lose one or you want a third for the cabin or for your kids or for your parents, you can have that extra one. So just write that key number down and the parts department guys can order one up for you. Your other 2 sets of keys are going to be your keys for your lockable storage and your keys for your glove box. These keys here are going to be for your rod compartments up here. Makes them nice and secure. So you can get at your rods. And your second set of keys are going to be for your glove box. Makes that lock nice and tight, keeps the honest people honest. So now let's talk about the batteries of this boat. This boat and most G3s are equipped with 3 batteries. Your 2 trolling motor batteries are nicely tucked away under your rod storage here. So a couple things I want to show you there. Here at Hannay's, we use interstate batteries. You'll notice on those batteries there, you're going to have a resettable 60 amp circuit breaker. That is for your Minn Kota 80 Terrova or your Minn Kota. The amperage might change depending on what trolling motor you have, but there's always going to be a resettable circuit breaker on your battery. All you simply have to do, if you do have an issue, this will pop out and you'll notice your indicator on your circuit breaker will be tripped. You simply push this back in and you should have power again. Your charger is tucked up nicely underneath the dash with your indicator lights. And like we talked earlier, your plug-in for that is going to be in the bow of the boat. Your main battery for this particular boat is tucked up underneath this starboard side jump seat. This is another interstate battery. And you'll notice underneath here, there is I'll try to get it out here, it's tied down a little bit, but there is a resettable circuit breaker underneath there that is, if you were to lose power to the dash completely, you don't have master power up there, there is a gray resettable circuit breaker. Thomas, you want to get a close in on this? Right here, and there's a little black knob pop out right there. If that would come out, just reset that, and you should have power back to your dash. A lot of this stuff that I'm telling you about circuit breakers popping, it is a very rare occurrence, but just in case, have it in the back of your mind. One thing we get a lot of questions at, whether we're selling a boat or when people pick up their boat, is what are all these levers on the seats? So I just want to do a quick tutorial on those. I'm going to actually take this seat out. To take these seats out, you just tighten up the friction plate, or the friction handle there. Lift that out. The first handle is going to be this knob here. This knob is a friction knob that makes it easier or harder to turn the seat freely. Your second lever is going to be this lever here. This lever is going to be letting the seat either stop at every 90 or to spin freely 360. This particular level here, lift this up. This is going to be your air ride adjustment, and this one here is going to be your seat slide. That's going to let the seat slide forward or back. The back of the boat, you're going to have a black access panel. This is going to come off, and then you're going to be able to get at all your bilge pumps, your aerator pumps, your 10 micron fuel filters that come standard with G3. You shouldn't have to get in here unless it's something eventually ends up wearing out, like your bilge pumps or your aerator pumps. Also in the back of the bump, you're going to have a primer bulb. Now, primer bulbs aren't like they were on the old two-strokes. You're not going to have to prime it every single time. You'll have to prime it once in a great while. Now let's go to the motor. We're going to do a 115 Yamaha because this is what this boat is with. It's going to be similar throughout Yamaha's line, but not exact. So we're going to pop this cowling off. Got a front cowl there, front cowl latch, a rear cowl latch. This cowling's going to come up. And a couple things that I want to show you on this engine are going to be, well, the main thing I want to show you right away is all the major fuses. So if you're in Canada and one of your buddies or you somehow arc the main battery and you have no power anywhere and you lost your fuses, you have your main fuse panel right here on that engine. You pop this off, and you'll notice you're going to have spare fuses behind it, and all your fuses are right there. Everything's labeled, so if you don't have trim, there's your trim fuse. Check them all, and replace the one that needs to be replaced. Also on this engine, I just want to show you where you check your oil. It's going to be on this yellow dipstick on this side. And then in the back of this motor, you're going to have the yellow fill. If you decide to do your old oil changes, you'll have your fill, your dipstick, and then your oil filter here on the starboard side. All right, guys, that's a wrap on the AV1750. Like I said in the beginning, the 17C, 17SF, AV19, 18s, they're going to be very similar to this, if not the same. Hopefully, this was helpful. If you have any questions on your particular rig, feel free to give us a call here at the shop. Thanks, guys.